Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk about forgiveness a bit today because I had an insight come to me while I was in meditation and I wanted to share it with you all. Forgiveness is a tricky topic. It's something that's also sensitive. It's a sensitive topic because a lot of times it's pushed on people when they don't want anything to do with it. It's something that's, I think, promoted a lot, probably because of Christianity, forgiveness being like kind of like a virtue in a way. So, that's fine, that's valid. But I wanted to talk about this topic just to open up the perspective a little bit and just offer some reflections on forgiveness. So, I don't even know where to start, but I guess I'll start by saying a lot of times forgiveness is forced on people or pushed on people. I don't say forced, but it's really encouraged a lot. Like, you gotta forgive, you gotta forgive. One thing I'll say about forgiveness, from what I've experienced as far as forgiveness goes, I've always been in a space where I've wanted to forgive whatever scenario person. I've always wanted to do that. So I've always been working towards that while on my spiritual journey. Even though I knew it was hard. Like, it's like part of me wanted it and then part of me was like, I don't want to. It really depended on the person. So what I will say is, when it comes to forgiveness, forgiveness is something that can only occur, and it occurs naturally when someone is in the right space. But there's a process of ripening that needs to happen in order for forgiveness to occur. And it's not something that can really be pushed on people or seen as the right thing to do. It's really up to the person in the situation to decide for themselves, is this something that I want to pursue? Because you can have in your mind that you want to forgive and then just work towards it if you want. Or you can make the decision that forgiveness is not something that you want and then follow through from there. It really is up to the person. But if for whatever reason you feel, okay, forgiveness is the path that I want to be on, and you're working up to it, you gotta have patience with that process, first of all, because it's not something that you could try to make yourself do. It's something that happens when you've cultivated enough presence and enough love in your heart. So, like for me, when I was on my mat today, and also reflecting on the past few months, the past few years that I've been on this path, it's been a process of cultivating forgiveness. And I feel today was a pivotal point in that process, because what I felt is that I had released and dissolved enough of my past attachments to be able to say, okay, I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to actually move on. Which brings me to my next point. Forgiveness is usually seen as something that's done towards a person, like you forgive a person or you forgive yourself. But really, we can open up the box a little bit so we can see forgiveness not just as something that you do for yourself or for, like, you forgive another person so you can have peace, but you forgive by making peace with something. So this is the insight that came to me, was that forgiveness can just be about making peace with something, accepting something. And that's hard for a lot of us, to make peace with what has happened, make peace with what has occurred, um, the things that we've had to go through. A lot of times when we're having trouble with forgiveness, and I'm not making anybody wrong if they don't want to forgive. I get it, okay? You don't have to do it. You don't have to forgive. Let me just say that right now. But a lot of times when we're having trouble with forgiveness, it's because we haven't fully accepted what has occurred. Or we feel like what has occurred is completely wrong, and there's no reason why we should accept what has occurred. And I think, again, that's valid. This is why I think this is a multi-layered discussion. It is valid to feel that if somebody hurt you and you find that to be unforgivable, you don't have to forgive that person. And you don't have to move forward. You don't have to. But a lot of times when we're having trouble with forgiveness, this is kind of what's happening. We're seeing the wrong in what has happened, and we don't like it, and we're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm done. You're out of my life. I want nothing to do with you. And not only that, you do not hold a positive space in my heart. So as long as I'm alive, I will continue to have like resentment towards you. Because let's just say we're talking about a person. You're wrong. That's it. And what has happened to me is wrong. What you did to me is wrong, period. So when we're having trouble moving forward and forgiving a person, it's usually because we see what they did was wrong and we're not accepting that. So what I feel constitutes forgiveness is the ability to make peace with what has occurred, accepting what someone has done as not being right, but almost we're able to see the blessing in what they've done or what has occurred with them. We're able to see the blessing in it. So maybe we could see that, okay, what they did was wrong, but look at who I've become because of the blessings and the lessons that I've been able to extract from that experience. We're able to see where it's almost like we're moving through a process of transforming our perspective on the situation, perhaps through the transmutation process. Transmutation is the ability to have a higher perspective of any situation. And so we change the frequency of whatever imprint is there. So instead of, I don't know, hatred, fear, pain, or whatever, it turns into something that is more like love or something that is more expansive for us. Okay? So when we're moving into forgiveness, this is basically the perspective that we're taking, is we're able to see the lessons and the blessings of what has occurred. And because we're able to see that, it helps us to become more present in who we are now and our true nature, actually, because those situations have helped us see who we truly are, as opposed to what we have created ourselves to be in order to cope with the trials and tribulations of life. So when we're able to have this acceptance and almost this love and almost gratitude for those experiences that we perceive as negative, and we're able to be more present because we've been able to get what we've needed to get from those experiences, this is what helps us to move through with the process of forgiveness. So if you think about all that, think about how difficult that is. This is why it's important to not push people into forgiveness, because that's what forgiveness involves. So if someone had a really traumatic situation happen to them, could be rape or molestation, and you cannot push someone into seeing the lessons and blessings behind that. They might reach there naturally, but that's what needs to happen. It needs to happen of their own unfolding, their own just process of healing. And they may never get to that point, and if they don't, it's absolutely fine. It's up to them, right? So the insight that came to me on the mat, just going back to that point, is that forgiveness does not have to be about a person. It can just be about the fact that you've made peace with the situations that have occurred. You've extracted the lessons and the wisdom from those experiences. You've brought yourself into presence because of what you've gained from those experiences, you were able to see the truth of who you really are now. And because of that, you're able to make peace with the past. Send love to it and be like, you know what? Thank you so much for everything you taught me, everything you showed me, everything that you were able to bring out in me as a being of light, as a being that has a divine spark within them. Thank you for that. It's time to move on. So we can do that with life in general, life situations. Doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could just be that we've accepted and made peace and expressed our gratitude for whatever crazy situations that might have happened, because we're able to see what we needed to see from them, and we no longer need to hold on to them. So we can let it go, basically. All right? So I thought that was an interesting insight. I hope it made sense. I felt like I was trying my best to streamline the reflections that I wanted to share. It's also harder when you yourself are processing something to speak on it, because things get a little bit cloudy. So with that being said, I'm just going to give myself some time to chill out and relax and continue processing all this stuff. But what I will say is that it feels empowering to be able to say, okay, thank you so much for what you taught me. Ready to move on into, calmer waters, a fresh perspective, a fresh experience, something that's more in alignment with who I truly am as a cosmic being that's worthy of having happiness and abundance in my life. So yeah, it feels good. It's just kind of just continuing to focus on where things are going as opposed to looking back. Just continue to focus on the forward movement. But yes, I hope that made sense, and I hope that resonated with all you. I didn't go live today because of the stuff that I'm processing. So whenever I go live, I'll let you guys know. And I send you all so much love. Take care. Bye-bye.